Hey everybody, Doug. I've been thinking about Chuck Norris, who died. A lot of people have been making songs for him. Of course, Chuck Norris jokes are going crazy, talking about how God needed a new sheriff up in heaven, all kinds of things. Watched a little show, a documentary about how him and Joe Louis in this karate championship and the whole thing, how it transitioned karate. And Chuck being a very good guy, being painted, of course, in larger than life imagery, and yet very humble as a man that we got to see. He does talk about a time when he was young, when he had there on the railroad tracks, where he had a problem with a bully. He was a kid, I believe it was elementary school. And he was telling this story just recently as one of the videos I saw. And he was telling the story about how every day this kid would chase him home and Chuck would run from him. And as he would run away from this kid and run home, he would always have to pass this gas station. And there was like a guy working at the gas station who was continually seeing this. And one day when Chuck was running from the boy, and he was running home to get away from this bully, the gas station attendant grabbed him and said something like this. I'm trying to get the exact quote, but it's pretty close. Chuck said that the man told him, running from your pain is worse than facing it. Or running from what you fear is worse than facing it. I can't remember which, if it was pain or fear now. And I tried to go back and find it and I couldn't. But either way, both of those were true. Now, in Chuck's life, as a boy there, to turn around and face that bully, probably going to be some physical pain that's going to be incurred at that. But there also may be the ending of the emotional pain that comes from having to run every day, from having to be afraid every day, from having to be, on guard all the time and questioning yourself and doubting yourself. And I guess I wanted to speak to you and I about that same thing. What is it that you don't want to face? What is it that I don't want to have to face? I had lost a marriage, and I had spent a lot of years in this town. Poured my life out. I was a pastor, and in that town for a lot of years, almost 17 years. And I had to, eventually move, and I moved over to the other side of the state and eventually back to the state where I live at in Iowa. And I had a new job as a chaplain, which is what I do now. And I had to go back to that little town, and I didn't like it at all. I hated that. I hated that I had to go back there, because it represented to me where I poured my life out at, where I poured everything out at, and what I felt like at that time lost everything. And it represented a place of shame. It represented a place of failure. It represented a place I didn't want to have to see anymore. But I needed to step into that place, and God knew that. God knew, in order for me to be healed completely, God knew I had to face something I didn't even really want to have to face. It was really His divine orchestration that brought me back and set me up to even have to travel up to this area and go to the town. And now I don't have any problem doing that. I'm glad I have done that. I'm glad I got to face that. And I had to step into what that felt like for me, and what my emotions were, and what my thoughts were about it. I'm glad I was forced to face something I didn't want to have to face. And I want to encourage you to step into something you don't want to have to face, something you've been running from, something you've been closing your eyes to, something you've been turning your back towards, when you know really that it would be the best for you to step into it and face it. It could be a complication at work. It could be a hard conversation you have to have with someone you love. It could be looking at your health and saying, I need to do something about it. It could be any number of things that you're like, I know I probably should do this, but I don't want to. And you don't want to because there's fear, there's pain, there's the unknown. Maybe there's like that gas station attendant told Chuck, it hurts more to run from your pain than it does to face it. And plus, there's never any healing. So today I just want to encourage you. Every one of us, including Chuck Norris, needed to learn how to turn around and face the challenges that are chasing them, that are pursuing them, and take those challenges head on. Do it with the greatest composure that you can, because the more you lose your composure, the more out of control that you get. And you can't, when you're out of control, you can't move things forward. You can only blow them apart worse. So turn around, face the challenge, accept the fear that's there, face the challenge, do it with the greatest composure that you can. Grab a hold of your self-control, face it, think. Don't let your emotions lead you. Think, be humble, and that's how you be strong. Think, have good composure, don't let your emotions rule you, be humble. That's how you can handle a situation with strength, and then come through it on the other side and realize, wow, I did it. And that begins to build more potential for victory in your life. When you face something that was hard, you face something you didn't want to have to face, and then you did it, you get a little bit more courage, a little bit more strength to face the next thing. Just want to leave you guys this. Hope you find some wisdom in it. God bless. Take a risk. Touch the world with His love, life, and power. Bye.